What if I told you that making him come back isn't about chasing him, crying for him, or proving your worth? It's about tapping into something so deep within his mind that even if he's with someone else, he won't be able to forget you. I'm not here to give you surface level advice. I've spent years studying the psychology of love, loss, and what really makes someone come back. Not out of guilt, but out of desire. Because when you make one powerful shift, you don't just make him miss you, you make him feel the absence of you in a way that no one else can replace. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do that, step by step. Part 1. Understand why he left. Let's start with something most people never talk about. Why he left in the first place? Because believe it or not, most men don't leave because they stop loving you. They leave because something inside them craved a different reflection. Maybe he felt emotionally crowded. Maybe his ego wanted validation. Or maybe he just didn't know what he had until it was gone. Psychologically speaking, this is called the emotional displacement effect. A man who walks away often isn't running from you. He's running from how he feels when he's not in control. He thinks the next person will be easier, more exciting, less complicated. But that's a temporary illusion. And here's what he doesn't realize. That emotional high he's chasing, it fades quickly. What stays is the bond, the emotional safety, the connection you built together. And the moment things go quiet, that bond starts calling him back. Now I want you to hear me clearly. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about understanding that his decision came from him. His own unresolved patterns, his own confusion, his own emotional gaps. And that's where your power begins. Because once you see that he didn't leave because you weren't enough, you stop trying to become someone else to win him back. Part 2. The magnetic shift, reclaiming your energy. Now this is where everything begins to change, when you shift your focus from him back to you. There is nothing more magnetic to a man, especially one who left, than a woman who no longer needs to be chosen. A woman who stopped begging, stopped waiting, stopped hoping, and started becoming. Psychologically, this is tied to something called reactance theory. When you withdraw your attention, when you stop being emotionally available, the human mind instinctively tries to reclaim what it feels it's losing control over. It's not manipulation. It's a hardwired response to emotional freedom. But here's the key. You're not doing this to get him back. You're doing this because you remember who you were before he left, before he made you question your worth. So stop proving anything. Don't reach out. Don't stalk his social media. Don't compete with the woman he's with. Instead, rebuild the emotional world he once knew you carried, one that doesn't include him anymore. You start saying yes to things you once put on hold. You re-engage with people who light up your spirit. You pour into your appearance, your goals, your growth, not as a show, but as a truth. Because nothing haunts a man more than seeing the woman he lost glow without him. And it's in that silence, in that distance, that something shifts inside him. He begins to wonder, did I misjudge her? Did I give up something rare? Is she really done with me? That's when curiosity turns into anxiety. And that, my friend, is when he starts to miss you. Not because you asked him to, but because he can't stop himself. Part 3. Emotional mirror technique. Now that you've reclaimed your energy, it's time to use one of the most powerful and subtle psychological tools I've ever taught, the emotional mirror technique. What does it mean? It means you stop trying to convince him of your value, and instead you reflect the life he secretly wishes he still had, the one he had when he was with you. Here's the truth. We are emotional creatures, and men, even the ones who act cold, are constantly comparing what they feel now with what they felt then. When he sees you happy, centered, radiant, not pretending, but truly rising, it taps into something primal. He starts to project. Psychologists call this emotional projection, the mind's way of comparing current reality with past emotional safety. So what do? You don't send messages, you send signals, subtle, indirect, and deeply human. A photo of you laughing with friends, not posed but real. A post about your new passion, a quote that screams peace, not pain. These aren't tricks, they're mirrors, and he can't help but look into them. He sees you, but more importantly, he sees what he lost. And here's the twist. You're not doing any of this for him. You're doing it because you're finally becoming who you were always meant to be. And that is the most irresistible version of you. When he looks at your life and sees no longing, no resentment, no need for him to return, that's when the fear sets in. The fear that someone else might see what he once had, and worse, that he may never get it back. Part 4. The twist. Why his new relationship doesn't fulfill him. Let's get honest. Yes, he's with someone else. But here's what no one tells you. Most men don't fall in love with the next woman. They fall in love with the idea of starting over. At first it feels new, light, exciting. But emotional chemistry isn't built on excitement. It's built on depth. And what he's about to realize is this. Depth can't be replaced. Psychologically, this is called emotional contrast. The brain naturally compares the comfort of past connections to the stimulation of new ones. And when the novelty fades, and it always does, the comparison begins. He starts noticing things, little things, how he doesn't feel fully seen, how the inside jokes are missing, how he can't quite relax the way he could with you. That emotional safety, that effortless connection, it's gone, and he starts to feel it. Then comes the memory triggers, a song, a scent, a quiet moment. They remind him of you, and suddenly he's not fully present with her anymore. He's mentally replaying a moment where he felt something real. And here's the kicker. It's not always about the best version of you. It's about the way you made him feel about himself. Because when a man felt admired, desired, understood, that imprint stays with him. She might check all the boxes, but if she doesn't reach that emotional imprint, that invisible mark you left on his heart, it doesn't matter how perfect she seems, because he's still chasing a feeling, and that feeling was you. Part 5. Let him come to you. At this point, everything inside him is beginning to shift. The memories, the comparisons, the regret. But here's the most important part. You don't go back for him. You let him come to you. Why? Because the human mind doesn't value what it can easily access. It values what it fears it may never reach again. And when a man begins to feel that he is the one who has been left behind, not physically, but emotionally, he starts chasing. This is where most people sabotage the process. They reach out too soon. They try to check in. But the moment you do that, you relieve his pressure. You give him relief from the very discomfort that was drawing him back to you. Instead, you remain in your power. You stay silent, focused, whole. And in that silence, he begins to spiral. He starts wondering, did she move on? Is she happier without me? Has someone else taken my place? That emotional uncertainty becomes obsession. Because now it's no longer about what happened. It's about what he's losing right now. Not just a person, but a version of himself that he can't recreate with anyone else. That's when he'll reach out, sometimes softly, sometimes suddenly, but not because you begged or reminded him or proved your worth. He'll come back because he realizes the only person he's truly trying to find again is you. Bonus ending, the silent move that triggers obsession. Now listen closely, because this is the move that changes everything. Don't block him. Don't confront him. Don't announce your growth. Instead, live your life so fully, so beautifully, and so silently that your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. This is what psychologists call the phantom connection, when someone feels emotionally haunted by a bond that's no longer available. They hear your laughter in other people's jokes. They feel your energy in places you're no longer in. They carry you, even when they're with someone else. And here's the twist. It's not your words, your apologies, or your effort that brings him back. It's your disappearance, not in bitterness, but in brilliance. When you become the mystery, the chapter he can't close, the woman who glows without him, you trigger a deeper fear than losing you ever did. The fear that he can't reach you anymore. And once that seed is planted, obsession begins. Not because you fought for him, but because you finally stopped. So now I ask you, are you ready to stop chasing and start becoming the woman he never stops thinking about? If this message spoke to your soul, it's because deep down, you already know your worth. You just needed someone to remind you. So if you're ready to stop settling, to rise and to reclaim your power, I invite you to subscribe, because this channel isn't just about men, it's about you, your healing, your strength, your story. Leave a comment below and tell me, what part of this spoke to you the most? What silent move are you going to make today? And remember, the version of you he couldn't value before, that's the version he'll be begging to return to, once you've already outgrown him. Until next time, stay powerful, stay beautiful, and stay gone long enough for him to feel it.